We stepped out of the portal, the ancient sands of Egypt replaced by a modern city's bustling energy. The sounds of car horns, people talking, and city life felt strangely alien after the silence of the pyramids. But as I took in our surroundings, a feeling of dread washed over me. Something was different. Something was wrong. Buildings that were once familiar had changed, bearing unfamiliar logos and designs. People passed by us, dressed in styles that were a decade too advanced. Our clothes, covered in dust and ancient grime, made us stand out like sore thumbs. "Dylan," Sarah began, her voice shaking. I think we've overshot our time." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I looked around, panic rising within me. Had we made a mistake? Were we in the wrong time? Did we alter history somehow? A newspaper vending machine nearby caught my eye. I rushed over and picked up a copy. The date on it confirmed our worst fears. We were 10 years into our future. A chill ran down my spine as I processed our new reality. We were strangers in a time we didn't belong, lost in the annals of history. But it was the thought of what we left behind, of our untouched past, that truly terrified me. What happened to our old lives, to our families, our friends? The faces of our loved ones flashed in my mind, filling me with a deep sense of loss and dread. Were they looking for us? Did they think we disappeared, or worse, died? As we navigated our way through the city, I saw our reflection in a shop window. We looked older, wearier. Our adventure had taken its toll on us. Sarah's hair was streaked with gray, and lines etched their way onto my face. The haunted looks in our eyes were a stark contrast to the life-filled city around us. We found our way to a library, looking for any information about our disappearance. As I typed our names into the search bar, my heart pounded in my chest. The results were terrifying. Dylan and Sarah Jennings, the infamous time traveler couple, read the first headline. There were articles, interviews with our families, conspiracy theories about our disappearance, even books written about us. As I scrolled through the material, a cold realization washed over me. We had become legends in our absence, a modern mystery that left our mark on the world in the worst possible way. Our return journey had turned into a nightmare. We were lost, stuck in a time not ours, haunted by the past we left behind and the uncertainty of the future. I could feel Sarah's hand tighten around mine, her fear mirroring my own. Had we done more harm than good with our time travel? Was there a way to fix this? Or were we doomed to live in this alien future, forever haunted by our past? As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the city, we found ourselves standing in front of our old home. But it was different, aged and weathered, with an unfamiliar family living inside. "Sarah, I began, but words failed me. The sight of our home, of our past life, filled me with an overwhelming sorrow. She squeezed my hand. "It's okay, Dylan. We'll figure this out." Her words rang hollow in the growing darkness. We had faced the trials of the pharaohs, overcome the terrors of the past, only to be confronted with a future we didn't recognize. Our own personal horror story was far from over, the echoes of our past constantly reminding us of our folly. And so, we walked away from our old home, our old life, into an uncertain future. Our journey had become a haunting reality, a chilling testament to our reckless curiosity. But one thing was certain, we had to fix this. We had to correct our timeline. But as the city lights began to twinkle in the growing darkness, reflecting in Sarah's worried eyes, I knew our terrifying adventure was far from over. The echoes of the past were still haunting us, and our fight against time had just begun. We retreated into the bowels of the city, far from the glaring lights and alien architecture of the future we had inadvertently landed in. The gloomy backstreets became our shelter, a place to hide and gather our thoughts. In the heart of the urban jungle, we found an old, rundown hotel. Its weary, faded walls bore the scars of time, just as we did. It was a relic of a forgotten era, a strange comfort in a future that felt like a nightmare. The man at the desk didn't ask any questions, probably used to drifters and wayfarers. We rented a room for a week, using the antiquated coins we had collected during our adventure. It was strange, paying with currency that hadn't seen light in thousands of years. Our room was a reflection of our state, grim, worn out, holding on to vestiges of a forgotten past. As we settled in, the weight of our journey finally hit us. The room, though small and dated, felt like a sanctuary from the strange world outside. Sarah found a small TV in the corner. Flicking it on, we were assaulted by images of a world we barely recognized. Holographic technology, advancements in AI, space travel, it was overwhelming. Every news story, every commercial was a grim reminder of the time we lost. 10 years is a long time in the modern world. Our journey through the past had sent us spiraling into a future we didn't understand. A world that moved on without us. That night, sleep was a distant memory. As Sarah drifted into an uneasy sleep, I found myself staring out of the window, the city's neon glow casting long, eerie shadows in our room. I felt a cold fear creeping up my spine, a sense of helplessness wrapping itself around my heart. Could we really change our timeline? Could we return to our rightful place in time? Or were we doomed to live in the shadow of our past? I must have dozed off because the next thing I knew, the room was dark, lit only by the city's ghostly glow. But something had changed. A deep, resounding hum filled the room, a chillingly familiar sound that sent ice-cold shivers down my spine. I turned to find the room bathed in a ghastly blue glow, the source of which was the scroll of the pharaohs lying innocuously on our worn-out table. The once dormant scroll was now alive, its glyphs and diagrams glowing with an eerie light. I reached out to touch it, but the moment my fingers grazed the scroll, a sharp, searing pain shot through my hand. I recoiled, a scream caught in my throat. My hand was etched with a glowing symbol, the Eye of Ra. My mind raced as I looked at the symbol, remembering the warning of the pharaohs. Do not let history repeat itself. Had we triggered something by using the scroll in our timeline? Were we responsible for this strange future? The cold realization sent a wave of terror coursing through me. What if our actions had consequences we hadn't foreseen? Suddenly, a chill ran down my spine. The room's temperature dropped drastically. The air filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the low hum of the scroll. My heart pounded in my chest as a sinister feeling of dread washed over me. I could feel something, a presence, a darkness looming over us. It was as if the pharaoh's curse had followed us into the future, a specter of our past coming to haunt us. I was terrified, but I knew one thing. We had to fix this, no matter the cost. The echoes of the past were haunting us, and only we could silence them. The trials of the pharaohs were not over. We had brought the past into the future, and now we had to face the consequences. And as the darkness of the room seemed to close in on us, a terrifying new chapter of our journey began. The haunting hum of the ancient scroll filled our dingy room, casting a spectral blue glow on the peeling wallpaper. I sat in silence, my mind whirring with thoughts, questions, fears. Each glowing symbol on the scroll seemed to dance with an otherworldly energy, each line a terrifying testament to our grave mistake. The eerie Eye of Ra etched into my palm glowed brighter by the minute, a burning beacon of our damning folly. It was as if the gods themselves were bearing witness to our actions, to our audacious attempt to manipulate time. With each passing second, the room grew colder, the air heavier. The oppressive atmosphere felt like a predator closing in on its prey, waiting to strike at the perfect moment. Suddenly, the hum of the scroll amplified, resonating through the room like a warning siren. The eye on my hand seared with pain, each throb echoing in the pit of my stomach. Then, with a blinding flash, a form started taking shape in the center of the room. A silhouette, swirling and undulating with spectral energy. I froze, my blood running cold as the figure solidified, manifesting into a spectral entity. Before us stood a spectral pharaoh, wrapped in ethereal robes of shifting energy, his face obscured by a ghostly headdress. His presence filled the room, an oppressive force that radiated ancient power. It was like being in the presence of a god, an angry god. "Dylan and Sarah Jennings, you have transgressed the laws of time," the pharaoh's voice boomed, echoing in the small room. Our hearts pounded in our chests. The reality of our situation was sinking in. We were face to face with the wrath of the pharaohs, paying the price for our reckless adventure. We didn't mean any harm," Sarah stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your intentions matter not. You have upset the balance of time, and for that you must pay," the pharaoh declared, his voice resonating with an ancient, ominous energy. As he spoke, A chilling wind swept through the room, sending a shiver down my spine. The eye of Ra on my palm burned brighter, the intense pain radiating up my arm. But amidst the terror, a spark of resolve ignited in my heart. We had started this nightmare, and it was up to us to end it. I squeezed Sarah's hand, drawing strength from her presence. "We understand our mistake," I started, my voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. "We are ready to fix this." The spectral pharaoh regarded us for a moment, his ghostly features inscrutable. "Very well," he finally said. "But remember, the path to redemption is paved with trials and tribulations." With that, he vanished, leaving behind a chilling silence. The scroll, once humming with energy, now lay inert on the table, the symbols no longer glowing. The ghostly encounter left us shaken, our resolve tested, but it had also ignited a sense of purpose within us. We were not just stranded tourists anymore. We were the architects of our own horror story, caught in a twisted game of time and fate. As the first rays of dawn seeped into our room, we prepared to face our new reality. We had a mission, a daunting task ahead of us: to rectify our timeline, to face the wrath of the gods, to carve our way back to our rightful place in time. I looked at Sarah, her face pale but determined in the morning light. I knew then, no matter the horror, no matter the trials, we would face them together. For it was our love that had started this journey, and it would be our love that would see us through. As the echoes of the pharaoh's words hung heavy in the air, we stepped out into the alien city, ready to face the terrors of time itself. Little did we know, the true horror was just beginning. For as the old saying goes, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. We had learned our lesson the hard way, and now it was time to face the consequences. Our haunting adventure was far from over, and the shadow of the past was ever looming. The trials of time awaited us, a chilling testament to the echoing horror of eternity. Our story reaches its chilling end, but the fear doesn't stop here. Don't forget to subscribe to Spooky Nightmares for more bone-chilling tales. Stay tuned, and until next time, sleep with one eye open.